Today, we will delve into the world of finance by exploring key concepts that form the foundations of financial transactions and investments. We will start by understanding the basics of simple interest, finding the principal rate and time, followed by simple discount notes, and then discounting a note before maturity. Moving on to compound interest, and finally exploring the significance of interest-bearing bank accounts, inflation, present value, and future value. Finding principal rate and time. So what is principal? Principal is the initial amount of money invested or borrowed. For example, if you borrow 500 pesos from a friend, then that 500 pesos is the principal amount. Rate is the percentage charged or earned as interest per unit of time. For example, if the interest rate is 10% per year, this means that for every 100 pesos borrowed, 10 would be the interest per year since um, the 10% of 100 is 10 pesos. Time is the duration for which the money is borrowed or invested. For example, if you borrow 1,000 pesos for 3 years, then the time would be 3 years. So here are some word problems examples of finding the interest, principal, and time. And to find these components, we can use the formula I is equal to PRT, where I represents the interest earned or paid. P is the principal amount, which is the initial amount of money. R is the annual interest rate in decimal form. And T is the time the money is invested or borrowed for, measured in years. Here is the first word problem example. Dan deposited 500 into a savings account that earns 3% interest per year. How much interest will he earn after 2 years? To solve this, let's identify the given first. So I or interest is unknown. P or principal is 500 pesos. Rate is 0.3 or 3%. And time is 2 years. To find the answer, we just need to substitute the given values to the formula. Then the equation will be I is equal to 500 times 0.3 times 2. Then I is equal to 30 pesos. So the answer is Dan will earn 30 pesos in interest after 2 years. The next example is Sarah earned 80 pesos in interest from a savings account that pays 4% interest per year. If the interest earned was 80 pesos, what was the principal amount she initially deposited? To solve this, let's identify the given first. I is 80 pesos. P is unknown. R is equal to 3% or 0.03. And time is 2 years. To find again the answer, we just need to substitute the given values to the formula. Then the equation will be 80 is equal to P times 0.04 times 1. Then 80 is equal to 0.04P. Then divide both sides by 0.04. Then P is equal to 2,000 pesos. The answer is Sarah initially deposited 2,000 pesos into the savings account. Here is another example. Emily invested 800 pesos in a bond that pays 5% interest. If she earned 40 pesos in interest, how long was the money invested? So to solve this problem, let's identify the given. Our interest is 40 pesos. P is 800 pesos. Rate is 5% or 0.5. And time is unknown. To find again the answer, substitute the given values to the formula. Then the equation will be 40 pesos is equal to 800 pesos times 0.05 times t. Then 40 pesos is equal to 0.05 t times 800. Then the equation will be 40 is equal to 40t. Then divide both sides by 40. Then t is equal to 1 year. Then Emily invested the money for 1 year. Simple discount notes. Simple discount notes are defined as the financial instruments where the interest is deducted upfront and the borrower receives the net amount. For example, if you borrow 1,000 pesos with a discount of 5%, you would receive 950 pesos upfront and repay 1,000 at maturity. So to better understand it, the formula for calculating the simple discount note is D is equal to P times R times T, where D is the discount, P is the face value of the note, R is the discount rate in decimal form, and T is the time in years. Here are some examples with solutions using the simple discount notes formula. The first problem is a company issues a 10,000 pesos note with a 6% discount rate for 3 years. Calculate the discount on the note. So to solve this, we just need to substitute the given to the formula. Then the equation will be D is equal to 10,000 times 0.06 times 3. Then D is equal to 1,800 pesos. Here is another example. An individual buys a 5,000 note at a discount of 4% for 2 years. Find the discount amount. Let's repeat the process where we need to substitute the given to the formula. Then the equation will be D is equal to 5,000 times 0.04 times 2. Then D is equal to 400 pesos. Discounting a note before maturity. This involves calculating the present value of a note or investment before its maturity date, taking into account the interest rate and time remaining. For example, if you have a note of 500 pesos due in 1 year with an interest rate of 8%, the present value would be calculated by discounting the future value back to the present. To better understand it, the formula for calculating the discounting the note before maturity is PV is equal to F over the quantity of 1 plus R times T over 360, where PV is the present value of the note, F is the face value of the note, R is the discount rate, and T is the time remaining until maturity in days. Here are some examples using the formula for discounting a note before maturity. The first problem is a 1,000 pesos note with a face value is discounted at a rate of 8% for 60 days. Calculate the present value of the note. To solve this, let's identify the given first. The face value is 1,000, the rate is 8% or 8 hundredths, and time is 60 days. To find again the answer, let's substitute the given values to the formula. Then the equation will be PV is equal to 1,000 over the quantity of 1 plus 8 hundredths times 60 over 360. Then the equation will be PV is equal to 1,000 over the quantity of 1 plus 133 10,000s. Then it will become 1,000 over 1 and 133 10,000s. Then the answer will be 986.84 pesos. Another example. A company discounts a 5,000 pesos note at a rate of 6% for 90 days. Find the present value of the note. To solve this, let's again identify the given first. F is equal to 5,000, R is equal to 6% or 6 hundredths, and time is 90 days. To find again the answer, just substitute the given values to the formula. Then the equation will be PV is equal to 5,000 over the quantity of 1 plus 6 hundredths times 90 over 360. Then the equation will be 5,000 over the quantity of 1 plus 15 10,000s. Then it will become 5,000 over 1 and 15 10,000s. Then the answer will be 4,926.11 pesos. Compound interest. Unlike simple interest, compound interest includes the interest earned on both the initial principal and the accumulated interest. For example, if you invest 1,000 pesos at an interest rate of 5% compounded annually, the interest for the next year will be calculated not only on the initial 1,000 pesos but also on the interest earned in the previous year. So the formula for compound interest is A is equal to P times the quantity of 1 plus R over N raised to NT, where A is the amount of money accumulated after T years, including interest. P is the principal amount or the initial amount of money. R is the annual interest rate in decimal form. N is the number of times that interest is compounded per year. And T is the time the money is invested for in years. So let's consider a real life example to illustrate compound interest. Suppose you invest 1,000 pesos at an annual interest rate of 5%, compounded quarterly, for 3 years. Using the compound interest formula, we can calculate the amount of money accumulated after years. To solve this, we just need to substitute the given to the formula. Then the equation will be A is equal to 1,000 times the quantity of 1 plus 5 hundredths over 4. raised to 4 times 3. Then the equation will be 1000 times the quantity of 1 plus 125 10,000s raised to 12. Then it will become 1000 times 1 and 125 10,000s raised to 12. Then the equation will be 1000 times 1 and 16 hundredths. Then the answer will become A is equal to 1000 and 160.93 pesos. Therefore, after 3 years, the amount of money accumulated would be approximately 1,160.93 pesos. This example demonstrates how compound interest helps your money grow exponentially over time by earning interest on both the principal amount and the accumulated interest. Let's consider another example to further illustrate compound interest. Imagine you deposit 5,000 pesos into a savings account that offers an annual interest rate of 3.5% compounded monthly. You plan to keep the money in the account for 5 years. Using the compound interest formula, we can calculate the amount of money you will have after 5 years. So, identify the given and substitute it to the formula of compound interest. Then the equation will be A is equal to 5,000 times the quantity of 1 plus 35,000 over 12 raised to 12 times 5. Then the equation will be 5,000 times the quantity of 1 plus 29 10,000s raised to 60. Then the equation will be 5,000 times 1 and 29 10,000s raised to 60. Then it will become 5,000 times 1 and 22 hundredths. Then the answer is equal to A is equal to 6,101 and 4 hundredths pesos. Interest-bearing bank accounts and inflation. Interest-bearing bank accounts offer a return on deposited funds, but inflation erodes the purchasing power of money over time. For example, if you have 1,000 in a savings account earning 3% interest, but inflation is running at 2%, your real return is only 1% after accounting for inflation. To better understand it, let's have an example. But before that, to calculate the real interest rate on an interest-bearing bank account after adjusting for inflation, we can use the formula real interest rate is equal to the quantity of 1 plus nominal interest rate divided by 1 plus inflation rate minus 1, where nominal interest rate is the stated interest rate on the bank account, and the inflation rate is the rate of inflation affecting the purchasing power of the money. So by using this formula, we can determine the actual purchasing power gained or lost on the money deposited in an interest-bearing bank account after considering the impact of inflation. So here is the example. Sarah invested 5,000 pesos in a certificate of deposit with an annual interest rate of 4%. However, during the year, inflation was at 2%. Calculate the real interest rate Sarah earned on her investment after adjusting for inflation. So to solve this, let's identify the given first. So the principal is 5,000 pesos. The nominal interest rate is 4% or 4 hundredths. And the inflation rate is 2% or 2 hundredths. Since we are looking for real interest rate, we just need to substitute the given to the formula. Real interest rate is equal to the quantity of 1 plus nominal interest rate divided by the quantity of 1 plus inflation rate minus 1. Then the equation will be real interest rate is equal to the quantity of 1 plus 4 hundredths divided by 1 plus 2 hundredths minus 1. Then it will become 1 and 4 hundredths divided by 1 and 2 hundredths minus 1. Then it will become 1 and 196 10,000s minus 1 is equal to 196 10,000s or 1.96%. Therefore, the real interest rate Sarah earned on her investment after adjusting for inflation rate is 1.96%. This accounts for the impact of inflation on the purchasing power of her investment. Now let's proceed to solving present value and future value. Present value represents the current worth of a future sum of money, considering a specified rate of return. Future value calculates the value of an investment at a future date. For example, if you want to know how much 1,000 pesos will be worth in 5 years at an interest rate of 4%, you would calculate the future value. Conversely, if you want to know how much 1,000 pesos in the future is worth today, you would calculate the present value. So for solving present value, we can use the formula PV is equal to FB divided by the quantity of 1 plus R raised to N, where PV is equal to the present value and FB is the future value, R is the interest rate per period, and N is the number of periods. Here's the word problem example for present value. Jane is considering investing 1,000 pesos in a savings account that offers a compound interest rate of 6% per year. She wants to know the present value of this investment after 5 years. So the given are future value is equal to 1,000, the rate is 6% or 600, and is 5 years. Then substitute it to the given formula and the equation will be PV is equal to 1,000 divided by the quantity of 1 plus 600 raised to 5. Then the equation will be 1,000 divided by 1 and 34 hundredths. Then the answer is 746.22 pesos. Here is another example for solving future value. So for solving future value, we can use the formula FB is equal to PV times the quantity of 1 plus R raised to N, where FB is the future value, PV is the present value, R is the interest rate per period, and N is number of periods. So to better understand it, here is a word problem example. Mark invests 500 pesos in a mutual fund that offers a compound interest rate of 8% per year. He wants to know the future value of this investment after 10 years. So the given are present value, which is 500 pesos, rate is 8% or 800, and is 10 years. Then substitute it to the formula. Then the equation will be FB is equal to 500 times the quantity of 1 plus 800 raised to 10. Then the equation will be FB is equal to 500 times 2 and 1600. Then the future value is equal to 1079.46 pesos.